And welcome to the Fox News Sunday Panel Plus with Bill Kristol, Joe Trippi, Liz Cheney, and Senator Evan Bayh. We're back to talk more about the Romney-Ryan ticket and what it means going forward. Bill, do you think that this is obviously energizing for the base, but do you think it will be energizing for independents whom you need to court in order to win the presidency?
I think Paul Ryan has a good history of persuading independents. He wins consistently in his district with about 65% of the vote. It's a 50-50 district. It's a district the Democratic presidential candidates have usually carried. I did the math in my head yesterday. I think Ryan must be winning something like 1 of 3 Obama voters in his district to get to the numbers he got to. So in 2008, a lot of Wisconsinites voted for Barack Obama in southern Wisconsin and then for Paul Ryan, which shows that if they get to know Ryan and if he gets a chance to make his case, obviously you can't do it as much on the national scale as you can do in your own district, but still, to some degree, he, I think, has a record of persuading independents and some Democrats to vote for him.
Senator Bayh, do you think that his popularity in Wisconsin has got coattails other places?
Not outside of Wisconsin, no, John. I think what we're about...
Not even Iowa or Minnesota?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we in Indiana would care about someone from Indiana, but if it was from someone in the neighborhood, no, not so much.
Sorry, Bill.
I think what we're about to see here is whether this is a Walter Mondale moment in 1984 where he admirably stood before the country and said, look, we got a budget problem, we need to raise taxes. The other guy won't tell you, I just did.
We saw how well
and he went on and carried 1 state for his candor. Or whether
Bob Beckel still talks about that.
Is that right?
Yeah, I lost 49 states.
Yeah, you know, or is this a Ross Perot in 1992, a John McCain 1.0 in 2000, where they said, you know, look, I'm going to have an honest adult conversation with the American people. We have real problems here. Everyone knows there are no easy solutions. I'm going to lay out mine for you. But at least I'm leading here. Is it that kind of moment? Ultimately, it's up to the American people. Clearly, Paul Ryan plays into that latter strategy. I think that's Mitt Romney's only hope. I still think it's an uphill battle.
Do you think this tough medicine will play well in the campaign, or will it be a Mondale moment?
Well, I actually think it might be a Rubio moment. I think if you look at Marco Rubio's win in Florida in 2010, where, you know, he carried the senior vote by saying we got to deal with entitlements. We simply have no choice. And, you know, we're in a situation now where we can say to 55 and older, don't worry, this doesn't affect you. What the Democrats are proposing is not only going to affect seniors, but also their children, their grandchildren, because they're proposing no solution. So Senator Rubio was able to have a very tough, very honest, very direct message, which, you know, theoretically and sort of the conventional wisdom would be shouldn't play well with seniors. It did, because I just think we're in a situation today in the country where people understand the crisis that we're facing.
And a couple of Republicans have won, Joe, arguing that the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, if you will, slows the growth of Medicare by $500 billion over 10 years, which will have its own impacts. They've won on that, saying, okay, so look, Paul Ryan wants to change Medicare, wants to preserve it, but look at what happens with Obamacare.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is because we've been spending a lot of time talking about how it may affect the presidential race, but how's it going to affect House races and Senate races, where you're going to have in these districts, you know, he's another one of them going to end your Medicare as we know it, Republican House members. So there's going to be a big fight there. But getting back to the energy level, this creates a lot of energy on the Republican base for sure. But Ryan's one of the people that Romney could have picked, and that he has picked, that creates a huge energy boost to the Democratic side too. So you're going to have a big,
it's a good record on him, and they've already been attacking him for 2 years. So just turn up the.
I think he might put Wisconsin into play. I mean, he's obviously going to win his district, which is nothing small. It's going to be a help there. Could put into play. I don't know if he can win the state for him, but it's possible. And look, the Midwest was slipping away. I mean, I know personally from looking at data in Ohio that it was starting to move away from Romney. I don't know if this gets him another look. I don't think Paul Ryan could deliver the Midwest, a region, but does it get some independents and others in states like Ohio to take another look at the ticket, because they were shutting the door on Romney before this happened?
From a standpoint, Bill, of impact on voters, the Obama campaign was getting a lot of traction, casting Romney as a cold, uncaring guy who only wanted to make money. You add Metascare to that, what does that do? How is that in terms of an arrow in the quiver of the Democratic campaign?
Well, the Democrats are going to test that proposition, and I think the Republican answer has to be thank you for adding Medicare. Because now we can have a substantive debate on policy, not a debate on Mitt Romney's tax returns or on what Bain Capital allegedly did or didn't do 15 years ago.
Yeah, they're still pushing the tax return thing. You heard Debbie Wasserman.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But I think that does look smaller when you have a big debate about entitlements, about tax policy, about economic growth, and the like. So I think if the Ryan pick is properly followed up on, but it can't just be a one-off. I mean, it has to be part of a strategy now for the next 86 days, however many there are, to change the character of the campaign.
The real problem is the taxes, because this is like, okay, everybody's got to take our medicine. It's going to be painful, but we're America and we can get out of this, except we still want to give tax breaks to the wealthy. In other words, there's something dissonant in that message too. There's a problem with the Romney-Ryan message right now.
This has to be the beginning of a reintroduction of Mitt Romney. Bolder Mitt Romney, follow up humanizing him at the convention, and have an outstanding performance in the debates. If he does those things, he's got a shot. If not, he's going to lose a narrow election. Yeah,
Liz, I asked John McCain about this when he was on the program earlier. The criticism of Sarah Palin was it was a big boost for the McCain campaign in the short term, didn't work out so well in the long term. Same concerns have been raised by some Republicans about the pick of Paul Ryan. Do you see a similarity there?
Look, I think that the pick of Paul Ryan says a huge amount about Governor Romney. And I think that Paul Ryan clearly is somebody who's, spent 7 terms now in the House of Representatives, and in a situation in which he could have done what a lot of people in Congress, with all due respect, not you, but a lot of people in Congress do, which is just sort of sit by and skate along the surface and not actually grab a hold of the tough issues. He didn't do that, and I think that's why you've seen such support for him out around the country. And I think, frankly, that kind of no-nonsense, let's deal with the challenges we face, will have an appeal to independents as well.
Now, Senator Governor Bayh knows that, when you're down at the state level, you do have to take the lead and you do have to put out tough choices.
If this is what the election ultimately was going to be all about, I think my Republican friends would have been better advised to accept Bill Kristol's original advice and to run Mr. Ryan for president rather than the other way around.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? A lot of people were talking about him as a candidate for the big part of the ticket, not the smaller part. Thanks so much for being with us today. It was a great discussion. Really appreciate seeing you. And please check in with us throughout the week at FoxNewsSunday.com. And tune in next week when Chris Wallace returns. Thanks for joining us.